The Crown has made it clear. The climate must be perfect all the year.
What if one of Hollywood's greatest actors kept a secret list of the films he treasured most? The ones that challenged him, moved him, or reminded him why he ever stepped in front of a camera? Richard Burton did exactly that. Behind the volcanic performances, behind the legendary romance with Elizabeth Taylor, behind the booming voice that filled theaters, Burton was a quiet observer of movies. A man who wrote obsessively in his diaries. A man who judged his own work with brutal honesty. And a man who surprised everyone with the films he admired. Some were masterpieces he starred in. Some were intense collaborations with friends. And one wasn't even his. He simply loved it as a viewer. But every choice reveals something deeper about the man. His pride, his taste, his insecurities, and the private standards he rarely admitted aloud. So today, we're counting down the 6 films Richard Burton himself named, praised, or cherished. Each one comes with a real quote, a story, and a moment where Burton let us see behind the curtain. As we go, ask yourself, what makes a film unforgettable to you? That question meant everything to Burton. Let's begin. Number 6, A Place in the Sun, 1951. Picture Richard Burton alone with his diary, revisiting the films that shaped his understanding of acting. Among them sits a movie he didn't star in, didn't influence, and didn't control in any way, yet admired deeply.
Who am I to think of marrying Angela? Angela has everything.
Talk of marriage aside, the fact is that we know almost nothing about your background.
There's not much to know, but what there is, I wanted to tell you myself.
That film was A Place in the Sun. It wasn't about ego. It wasn't about legacy. This was Burton studying greatness from the outside, appreciating a masterpiece as a passionate viewer. And at the center of that admiration were 2 young performers who electrified the screen, Montgomery Clift and Elizabeth Taylor. Released in 1951, A Place in the Sun tells the story of George Eastman, a young man torn between ambition, guilt, and 2 women who represent 2 different futures. Elizabeth Taylor, only 18 at the time, delivers a luminous performance as Angela Vickers. Her elegance and natural confidence in front of the camera were astonishing. Montgomery Clift, meanwhile, brings a haunting mix of vulnerability and inner conflict. Their chemistry isn't forced. It breathes, it aches, it feels human. Burton adored Clift. He once said, "Monty, like Garbo and Brando, had the extraordinary facility of giving you a sense of danger." That single sentence reveals everything. Burton valued actors who carried unpredictability, who seemed as though they might break or explode at any moment. Clift lived in that space. His performance in this film embodied the fragile brilliance Burton admired. Watching Clift was, for Burton, a reminder of what acting looked like when it came from the deepest parts of the soul. In his 1969 diaries, Burton noted several of Elizabeth Taylor's favorite performances, and A Place in the Sun was high on her list.
I think maybe they'll let us make our announcement when I come home from school at Christmas.
At Christmas. Let's run away.
Run away?
Let's run away now. Right now.
Burton wrote that down. He didn't dismiss it. He respected it. He admired how powerful she was on screen long before their stormy romance made headlines. For Burton, this film revealed her gift in its purest early form, graceful, magnetic, instinctive. He saw a young woman who could hold the audience with a glance, and he understood why Hollywood embraced her. For Burton, A Place in the Sun became more than a film he enjoyed. It became part of his education. He was a man trained in Shakespearean thunder, accustomed to filling stages with sheer vocal force. But here, in this quiet tragedy filled with delicate close-ups, he saw a different kind of power. The power of stillness, the power of intimacy, the power of 2 actors creating tension without raising their voices. It changed how he viewed cinema. It deepened his respect for performances shaped by interior emotion rather than theatrical size. And maybe, unknowingly, it prepared him for the on-screen partnership he'd later form with Taylor. A partnership fueled not by glamour, but by intensity. So here's your moment of curiosity. Have you watched A Place in the Sun? Do you believe Clift and Taylor created one of Hollywood's greatest romantic pairings? Or is there another classic duo that still lives louder in your memory? Number 5, Where Eagles Dare, 1968. Richard Burton was known for Shakespeare, tragedy, and thunderous dramatic roles.
I think that speaks for itself. Major Smith will lead the group in. Now, you're all expert at survival behind enemy lines.
Which is why Where Eagles Dare might seem like the strangest entry on his list of personal favorites. It's loud, it's explosive, it's unapologetically pulpy. But for Burton, this snowy World War II adventure meant something no award-winning drama ever could. His children loved it, and that emotional connection made it unforgettable. The film follows a daring mission deep in the Alps, where Burton's character, Major Smith, leads a covert team into a Nazi fortress perched on a mountain. Clint Eastwood plays the silent American sharpshooter beside him. Together they unravel double crosses, infiltrate the castle, and survive an avalanche of shootouts and explosions. It's a film built for excitement, not analysis. Yet Burton didn't dismiss it. Instead, he embraced its thrills with rare enthusiasm. After seeing the finished movie, Burton wrote in his diary, "It is in parts the most hair-raising film I've ever seen. Some of it made me shake even though I knew what was coming." That sentence captures genuine delight. Not the polished commentary of a veteran actor, but the honest reaction of a man surprised by how much fun he was having. He went further, adding, "The children adored it and went back to see it a second time. And that presumably will be our main audience." Burton's tone is affectionate and humorous.
Works in Zumwilde and Hirsch. It's because of her that you got the job in the castle.
In a career filled with heavy material, this movie gave him a chance to be the hero his children could cheer for. No emotional torment, no tortured monologues, just adventure, suspense, and the pleasure of seeing his kids excited. The film's commercial success added another dimension. While Burton rarely cared about box office numbers, Where Eagles Dare proved he could carry a full-throttle action blockbuster. It broadened his reputation, showing he wasn't limited to classical or literary roles. Audiences who found him intimidating in dramas discovered a new side of him. Confident, cunning, and unexpectedly charismatic in an action setting. Behind the scenes, Burton's professionalism helped anchor the movie's escalating chaos. The elaborate stunts, snowbound locations, and cliffside sequences required precision. Burton delivered. Eastwood later remarked on how impressed he was with Burton's discipline during such demanding conditions. But what truly sets this film apart within Burton's favorites is the emotional simplicity of it. He didn't list it because it changed him. He listed it because it brought joy. It reminded him that cinema could be pure entertainment, and that sometimes the most meaningful memories come not from artistic achievement, but from watching your children laugh, gasp, and cheer for you. So ask yourself, what's the first action movie you remember loving as a child? And can you imagine Richard Burton, popcorn in hand, secretly thrilled as his children watched him storm a Nazi stronghold on the big screen? Number 4, The Night of the Iguana, 1964. When Richard Burton arrived in Puerto Vallarta to film The Night of the Iguana, he stepped into one of the most intense and revealing projects of his career.
What's statutory rape? I've never known what that was.
That's when a man is seduced by a girl under 20.
Directed by John Huston and adapted from Tennessee Williams' play, the film follows Reverend T. Lawrence Shannon, a broken man wrestling with guilt, desire, and spiritual collapse. Burton's performance is raw, wounded, and volcanic, a reflection of both the character and the actor himself. Burton didn't merely admire this film, he cherished it. In his diaries, he listed The Night of the Iguana as one of the works he was genuinely proud of, and that mattered. Burton was ruthlessly honest in his self-evaluations. Films he disliked, he attacked without hesitation. Films he loved, he praised sparingly. Iguana earned that praise. One reason was the acting around him. Burton valued great performances, and this production overflowed with them. Ava Gardner's earthy magnetism, Deborah Kerr's quiet spirituality, Sue Lyon's dangerous innocence, and most notably, Grayson Hall's fierce portrayal of Judith Fellows. Burton admired Hall so much that he wrote a letter to legendary actress Myrna Loy, praising Hall's extraordinary work. That single gesture reveals how deeply he respected the ensemble. The filming conditions were equally significant. Puerto Vallarta's heat was suffocating. The storms were violent. The environment was unstable, just like Shannon's mind. John Huston famously encouraged chaos on set, believing it brought emotional authenticity. Burton thrived in that atmosphere. It pushed him toward performances shaped not by technique alone, but by instinct and vulnerability.
Why did they lock you out?
For conduct unbecoming a man of the cloth.
The trouble is Sharon. I caught the vibrations between you two.
Here, please, let me help. Let me take it off.
I got to break.
This film also carried a deeper personal layer. Elizabeth Taylor visited the set, and their presence together drew frenzied press attention. Yet Burton remained focused. He connected with the material on an almost spiritual level. Shannon's emotional unraveling mirrored Burton's own lifelong struggles with identity, faith, and self-control. Playing a tormented man wasn't just acting, it was confession. Thematically, The Night of the Iguana explores redemption, forgiveness, and the painful search for meaning. Burton understood these themes intimately. His portrayal isn't polished, it's jagged, human, honest. It remains one of his most respected performances because he dared to expose something real beneath the character's surface. Burton's admiration for this film shows us his artistic compass. He valued challenging roles, he valued depth, he valued stories that forced him to confront something uncomfortable. Iguana gave him all of that, and more. So here's a question for you. When you watch The Night of the Iguana, whose emotional journey hits you hardest? Burton's crumbling reverend, Gardner's wild survivor, or Kerr's gentle wanderer? And what does this stormy drama illuminate about the human heart? Number 3. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, 1965. Richard Burton once said he hated bad scripts because they forced him to learn the writings of another man without any reward. But when he found a great script, rich, intelligent, morally layered, he attacked it with fire.
Tell me you're a bloody communist.
Yes.
Since the war.
The Spy Who Came In From the Cold was one of those rare treasures. John le Carré's bleak Cold War world gave Burton a role that matched his complexity. Alec Leamas, a spy whose soul has been rubbed raw by lies. This wasn't James Bond fantasy. No gadgets, no glamour, no witty escapes. Instead, Leamas is a man collapsing inward, a man used, discarded, and manipulated. A man who knows the Cold War's real currency is suffering. Burton loved roles like this. Tragic, bruised, human. In his diaries, Burton listed The Spy Who Came In From the Cold as one of the films he was most proud of. And the pride is justified. His performance is restrained but volcanic underneath. Every sigh, every drink, every moment of silence carries weight. He doesn't play Leamas as a hero. He plays him as a man so tired that the truth feels like a luxury he can no longer afford. Critics praise the performance as a career pinnacle. Audiences who expected Shakespearean thunder discovered a quieter Burton, one who acted with stillness instead of volume. Burton understood that Leamas' strength came from emotional erosion, not outward force. This subtlety earned him another Oscar nomination, one of 7 he never won, but deserved. The film itself is a masterpiece of tone. Shot in stark black and white, it feels like a world drained of hope. Every frame suggests betrayal. Every conversation hides a knife. Burton thrives in that atmosphere. He occupies the moral ambiguity effortlessly, proving that despair can be as riveting as passion. Behind the scenes, Burton admired le Carré's writing and the honesty of the story. He valued films that treated audiences like adults, and Spy did exactly that. It refused to give easy answers. It refused to comfort. It refused to lie. Burton gravitated toward that harsh truth. It matched his worldview. Sharp, skeptical, deeply aware of human frailty. This role also reflected Burton's internal struggle with acting itself. In private, he often questioned whether acting mattered, whether it had meaning, whether it was worthy of a life's devotion. Playing Leamas, a man questioning everything he sacrificed, echoed Burton's own doubts, making the performance feel painfully personal. The result is one of the greatest espionage films ever made. Raw, icy, devastating. A story where victory feels indistinguishable from defeat. So here's your question. When you watch Burton's Alec Leamas, do you see a spy? Or do you see a man crushed by the weight of his own choices? And do you prefer this cold, realistic style of espionage over the glamorous spy films of the same era? Number 2. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, 1966. Imagine two of the world's most famous lovers stepping into a story where love has rotted into warfare. That's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, a film that caged Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor inside a single volatile night and told them to tear each other apart.
What a terrible thing to do to Martha's snapdragon.
Is that what they are?
Yeah, but here I went in the moonlight all the way to Daddy's greenhouse to pick them for.
There is no moon.
The result became one of the most emotionally explosive films ever made, and Burton counted it among the works he was proudest of. Burton plays George, a weary, acidic professor who battles his wife Martha with weaponized words. Taylor, in a stunning transformation, meets him blow for blow. Their real-life relationship was already turbulent, but this film magnified every crack, every bruise, every unspoken wound. For Burton, the role was a gift, a chance to unleash bitterness, sarcasm, love, and despair in equal measure. In his diaries, Burton singled the film out as one he deeply valued. Critics agreed. David Thompson wrote that the film was very good and truly wounding, and that it would never have been made without Burton and Taylor. Their chemistry wasn't just acting, it was combustion. Every scene feels like a dangerous dance between two people who know exactly how to hurt each other. Interestingly, Burton kept no diary entries during the shoot. The emotional toll was too great. But afterward, he acknowledged the film's power, and Taylor's brilliance. She won the Oscar for her performance. Burton was nominated, but again left without the trophy. Still, he wasn't bitter. He admired her victory. He admired the film, and he admired the brutal honesty of their shared work. The film also broke new ground in Hollywood. Its raw language, accusatory tone, and emotional violence challenged the censorship norms of the time. Burton knew they were pushing boundaries. He relished it. He preferred art that confronted audiences instead of comforting them. George is one of Burton's most layered characters. He shifts constantly. Mocking, exhausted, tender, scheming, shattered. Burton brings every shade to life without exaggeration. His voice softens just before it cuts. His eyes betray emotions. His words try to hide. It's a performance that proves Burton wasn't only a theatrical powerhouse. He could deliver devastating subtlety. Watching the film today feels like witnessing a private war, and knowing Burton considered it a personal favorite adds weight. He valued truth. He valued danger. He valued material that asked actors to bleed a little. When you watch George and Martha destroy and rebuild each other, do you feel sympathy or shock? And do you believe Burton and Taylor delivered the greatest on-screen confrontation in film history? Number 1. Beckett, 1964. Richard Burton loved great dialogue. He loved moral conflict.
With all England's might behind me and even against England's interest to defend you, Thomas, I would have given away my life laughingly for you.
He loved stories where loyalty and conscience collided. Beckett gave him all three, wrapped in history, sharpened by wit, and powered by his greatest on-screen partnership, Peter O'Toole. Burton cherished this film, and in his diaries, he listed Beckett as one of the works he truly cared about. He plays Thomas Beckett, a friend turned adversary of King Henry II. Peter O'Toole, fiery and brilliant, plays the king who cannot understand why his loyal companion suddenly chooses duty to God over devotion to the crown. Their relationship forms the emotional core of the film, affectionate, tense, tragic. The chemistry is electric. The dialogue crackles with intelligence. Burton loved material like this. Dense, challenging, full of emotional and ethical complexity. He once wrote that Beckett was among the films that satisfied him most. Considering his high standards, that praise speaks volumes. Although Burton was famously self-critical, he recognized that Beckett captured some of his finest work. And he wasn't wrong. His performance is commanding yet conflicted, noble yet painfully human. What makes the film shine is the duel between two masters. Burton and O'Toole elevate every scene. Their arguments feel like sword fights disguised as conversation. Their friendship feels deep enough to break. And their eventual separation feels inevitable and tragic. Historically, the story explores power, faith, and the cost of integrity. Burton connected with these themes. He admired roles where characters wrestled with impossible choices. Playing Beckett allowed him to explore a man torn in two directions: loyalty and righteousness, a tension Burton understood in his own life. The film earned Burton an Oscar nomination, adding to his long list of nominations without a win. Yet Beckett remains one of the performances most audiences point to when arguing that Burton deserved the award at least once. The Academy didn't vote that way, but history has. The production itself brought Burton joy. Acting alongside O'Toole, a friend and artistic equal, pushed him to new heights. They admired each other's talent. They competed with each other lovingly. The result is a film where neither outshines the other. Instead, they illuminate every scene together. Burton also valued how the film respected the audience's intelligence. No shortcuts, no pandering, just rich storytelling delivered with precision. This was the kind of material he lived for. So here's your curiosity question. When you watch Burton and O'Toole and Beckett, whose argument moves you more, The Crown or The Church? And do you think any modern acting duo could match the force of their legendary chemistry? And there you have it. 6 films Richard Burton held close. Not a studio-approved list, not a publicity stunt, but real favorites pulled from diary entries, interviews, and the rare moments when Burton dropped the mask and spoke honestly about his craft. These films reveal a man who chased complexity, who embraced emotional danger, who admired other actors fiercely, and who lit up when a movie thrilled him, even if it was a wild action romp he watched with his kids. From the icy despair of The Spy Who Came In from the Cold, to the volcanic warfare of Virginia Woolf, to the towering moral struggle in Beckett, Burton's favorites tell us exactly who he was: a brilliant performer searching for truth, and sometimes a simple moment of joy. Now, it's your turn. Which of these 6 films speaks to you the most? Do you agree with Burton's choices? And is there a Richard Burton performance you think should have made his list? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Burton always had sharp opinions, and we know you do too. If you enjoyed this cinematic deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and join us for more journeys through the legends of film. Until next time.